Today we're going to look at a comparison test with 3 different kinds of antennas. The reason why we're doing this test is because our antenna supplier just sent me this new model here. He says that in a lab it outperforms anything else he's got, and so he was looking for someone to take it out to some real races and just check and see how it performs in the real world. So I was happy to do that. And so today I told him that I would map out some kind of read zones and barriers and kind of compare it with other antennas and kind of see what we get. And so first I guess I'll talk about each of the antennas, then I'll cover how I'm doing this test. So this first antenna, again, this is the new one he just sent me. It's a dual frequency antenna, and forgive me if I get the terminology wrong here. It's been a little while since he sent me the specs, and I didn't review it before I did this setup here. But so dual frequency, basically it will work in the US or any 902 to 928 I think frequency countries, but also work in the ETSI standards, so the European countries. So we've got one model number compared to if if someone in Europe wanted to buy the antennas we've been supplying, we've got to ship them another model number. It's the same specs, same everything, basically, just different model number. Obviously, it works on the European frequency instead of the US frequency. So this is dual frequency, but also he was mentioning something about it's got a like 3 read surfaces compared to 1 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but he was saying that it should perform better in environments where the tags are maybe you're timing an adventure run or triathlon, or again maybe even with bib tags it may work better. So that's kind of the basic overview of that antenna. I'm sure if he watches this video he's going to cringe. I'm sure there's so much more that I'm not saying. But the next antenna, this is what we've been supplying over the last 2 years. I don't have the model number memorized, so I'll just kind of zoom in here. This is, again, MTI Wireless. It is, all 3 antennas are IP67 rated, which means they're weatherproof. There's no issues with using them in the rain or snow or anything else. So that's what we've been using. And then here is the Thinkify TAC-60. This is what we offered for the first year, maybe year and a half when we offered the system. It's a great antenna at the time. And again, with everything, I'm always looking like what's the highest performance for the lowest cost, but also not sacrificing reliability. I don't want junk, obviously, on the finish line just because it's cheap. What's something that is high quality, high performance, but also low cost. And so the Thinkify TAC-60, that was perfect when we first were offering the system. I was consistently, just like with the other 2, getting 100% read rate. The issue is, and by the way, I do like that it's smaller, so it's easier to pack away. I will say that the MTI Wireless antennas, I do feel higher quality, and the representative from MTI Wireless, he actually came from Israel and spent a day with me here at my house, gave me a presentation about all the higher quality materials and different all the different specs that are better. But I'm kind of getting sidetracked here, but I think maybe this is important. Really for me and probably for you guys, when it comes to, hey, we use a different quality material. Well, okay, are we going to notice a difference? That's what's key. Like with the 7500 or the 9500 or the 9500 really versus any other reader, the specs are better and you notice a big difference. I can tell it's stronger. So to be honest, so far with these 3 antennas, I can't really notice a difference. Now you'll see a difference here with what I've mapped out, but when you're at a race and you set your finish line up to where everyone crosses, typically you see even the shortest read zone here about 9 feet. When you set your antennas up or your finish line up to where everyone's crossing, typically within 4 feet of the antennas, I don't know that you're going to notice a difference between any of the brands here. But I will say that the Thinkify antenna, the TAC-60, those work great. But the problem is, after about a year and a half, when our customer base started really growing, and I don't want to say it's just because of us, but I will say that in the fall and spring seasons, when we needed them the most, that's when that supplier seemed to run out of those antennas. And it was an unexpected shortage. And so almost every time, we were kind of blindsided by it, and we were scrambling to fill orders, and so we had to switch suppliers, and then that's kind of how we moved to the MTI Wireless antennas. And so maybe more information I should have shared, but let me get on to how we're going to do this test. So again, we're going to test the Thinkify TAC-60, we're going to test the MTI Wireless antenna that we're currently offering in the middle, and then third, we're going to test this new antenna that the supplier claims offers better performance in the lab. One more thing before I move on to how we're going to test it is the actual bolt pattern. So all of them have the reverse polarity TNC connector on the back, so I can just easily swap this cable from one to the other. And that's the same connector, by the way, that's on the back of the readers. And so exact same connector there. The bolt pattern you can see here, one thing I didn't too much care for, and again, this is not, this is just because I wanted to use the exact same hardware. You see that this metal piece sticks out here a little bit. So the bolt pattern here, this one's got on the top right corner, and this is got on the top left corner. And I couldn't seem to turn our brackets that we supply. I couldn't seem to turn them any direction to get it to where this wasn't sticking out. And so also the port here is, if it was any further left, then I could not plug my cable in very well unless I had a crooked antenna, unless I turned it a little bit to the side. Now, I don't believe there's any problem turning it to the side, except for the fact that just, it kind of looks funny to have your antennas not, square. So, that was the two things I found right off the bat. Besides that, it feels identical to the other antenna. So, but all right, so as for how we're going to do the test, I want that the only variable to be is the actual antennas themselves. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one reader, same cable, same laptop, same everything, do my test, and then simply swap the cable to the other antenna, do another test, and then swap it around. And then just out of curiosity, I'm going to hook up my other readers here and see how much further away it reads, maybe how much wider the beam is. Of course, got my reader powered by a battery backup here, and I do have a camera hooked up. I've got my volume turned all the way up on my laptop, so we should be able to hear the ding noise as I'm waving the antenna around. But we should be able to also see the camera. Now, the camera cannot keep up with the number of reads that we're going to get, because I've set it to a 500 lap race, and let me see if this will focus here. I've got it set to a 500 lap race. It's called the antenna test race, and I've got a 1 second gap between reads, and so we'll definitely get more reads than the camera can record. Now, I'm sure there's settings. I don't know. I years ago I looked into it and I forgot all the settings now, but I'm sure there's a setting to where it can take pictures much faster than what I've got it. With the flash up, basically that's what's causing the major delay. But I wanted you to be able to see the reads on this, on this video. So. But anyways, so let's go ahead and do our test. So again, we're going to test the TAC-60 first, and I guess I'll share the preliminary results. So I've already done this test 2 different times, and what I did is, again, this is probably laughable here, but I found I've got 3 different color extension cords. And so what I did is I took my white cord and I ran it, and I know it's kind of odd kind of going around there, but that's the results I was getting. And so I ran my extension cord around to where the reads are pretty consistent. So this is the bubble that's created when you're looking at the TAC-60. And you see a tape measure, by the way. I've got stretched all the way out there just so I can see how far away they are. But you see the orange extension cord there. That's the bubble I'm getting out of the MTI Wireless antenna that we're currently testing. And then this yellow extension cord, that's the bubble I was getting, which I know is kind of odd shaped, but again, that's what I was getting. That's the bubble I was getting out of the new antenna. What's interesting, and I will say kind of a spoiler here, the Thinkify and the MTI Wireless, I was getting consistent reads within that bubble. But with the new antenna, for some reason, when I would step in, it would just stop reading for a while. And so I would move it all around and it would just pick right back up. Now, within a certain range here, it would get it every time. But the more I moved back, maybe, here, maybe 8 feet out, it seemed to be very sporadic. And so I'm not sure what that's about. So I'll cover this with the supplier and kind of see what he says. Again, I did that test 2 or 3 times to make sure it wasn't a fluke. I actually turned the antenna a certain way to make sure that the cord coming so close to this metal pipe here didn't cause a problem. And so I turned it the other way so that the cord is far away from anything metal, and that didn't seem to help. So again, I'm kind of rambling here. Let's go ahead and turn our readers on and do a quick test. Oh, and I guess I should say one final thing. So someone might watch this video and say, well, wait a minute, if that's your how far early you're picking them up, that's no good. I don't want that system. But this is UHF RFID by definition. It's not, let me clarify that by saying that whenever you run by, if you're running by the antenna, you will see that reads occur basically right in front of it. These reads you're getting way out here are simply because I'm walking very slow. And every now and then, again, a random, I guess, beam will come out and will pick up the tag. And so the only time you should pick up someone really early is if they are truly walking through the finish line real slow. Now, typically at the end of the race and you're waiting on walkers, those people aren't going to know or care, typically, if they're a half a second picked up too early. But runners that are actually sprinting through almost always get picked up right on the line. And so now I will say that the reason why you may notice that the Thinkify reader has a little bit fatter read zone is because it's a lower dBi antenna. So it does, by design, it will have a fatter read zone, fatter and shorter. The higher dBis will read out further and a little bit more narrow. And so that's kind of the reason why we're getting the results we are. Okay, so I'm going to turn this laptop towards us so that hopefully the ding noise will be even louder. And I'm going to go ahead and start the reader. So let me go ahead and start the clock and go to, gotta find my mouse here, read, start listening. All right, the reader is connected. We are going to test this with the TAC-60. And so here we go. I've got the tag in my hand. I'm going to hold it to where it's directly facing the antenna. You should see roughly when we get about that white line. Right there. You hear it ding, ding, ding. All right. So right now, just cross that side of that white line. Cross back inside of it right there. Okay. Now we're back out. Now that was just simply a late picture of the a late trigger of the camera. So if I move inside the line, so we're right inside the line there. You see that? Now let me scoot back. Now I'm going to come back over here. Now I will say that I put this white line here on where I was getting fairly consistent reads. I will get sporadic reads out a little further with the Thinkify, but again, it's not reliable. So here, let's step inside the bubble. Okay, so right now it's not getting it. Earlier it was pretty consistent right here. Right there. Okay, for some reason now it's being sporadic here. Let's get a little closer. Right there. Sure enough, when I record the video, okay, so there. There. Okay. Right there. Right there. Right there. I can still hear it. Okay. So it's pretty consistent out to here. So for some reason, I guess this little odd part I have right here, earlier it was picking up. So I thought it was odd whenever I made that little round formation here instead of cutting across. So apparently maybe that's not true. It was true twice in a row. Of course, now that I'm moving the cable, I can hear it taken. All right, so again, we're outside. Let me scoot back a little bit. Right there. So I'm about a foot further than the white line. Okay, so I'm still getting picked up. Right there. So again, this is a rough, and now, by the way, I was right here, so I mean, just right inside the white line there. So now it seems to also be right there. Okay. So anyways, you get the idea. That's roughly seems to be getting picked up there. So basically, as I follow this white line, it's pretty consistent. So let me get behind the antenna. You can imagine kind of like almost a tornado coming at that thing going out as it goes out. Now again, this is already even at the base here. I put this is not an accident. It's picking up even real close to the edge. It's picking up way out here. Whereas the other antennas, it seemed like it was a little bit more in towards the actual antenna. So that was antenna number 1. Let's go ahead and swap this and do antenna number 2. I'm going to go ahead and reset the race even though I don't have to. Reset. And then swap. They're usually not this flimsy on there. This one I grabbed just happened to have a broken thing right there, so anyways, it'll work just fine. All right, start the clock, start listening, and we are connected. So let me hide the tag in my hand. So we're gonna follow this orange cable this time. So again, I'm holding it out here, shouldn't get any reads until I walk into right there, the orange line. In fact, I'm right on top of it. So if I step out of it, nothing. Step in. Oh, yeah, there it goes. So I can hear it dinging. Let me let this car drive by so we can hear it. I'm gonna actually turn the laptop towards here. Like I said, makes it a little louder. I should have hooked up some external speakers so it'll make it even louder. Alright, so now we're on the outer edge. Right there, picked up. If I take it away, nothing. Right there. And again, it will read out further than this yellow, orange. Right there, I'm getting reads. I'm outside the orange line. So this is at 14 feet away. Right there, reads. Right there, I'm getting reads. So really I can pull this out a little bit further here. Yeah, it's consistently getting it here. Right there. Right there. You know, even the, this is something posted on the user's forum too, even the dings coming from the laptop don't happen every time. Now, it happens most of the time, but not every time a read happens. So, I'm trying to go real slow here so we can listen for the dings. So yeah, this is pretty consistent right on the orange line. So you can kind of see how far out and how wide that one is compared to Thinkify MTI Wireless. So it reads out further, maybe a little bit more narrow beam. I mean, it's not much more narrow, but it is a little bit. All right, so let's swap the antennas and test the new one. Again, this one's kind of really close to the... There's just enough room, but it's almost touching it. Almost touching. Alright, let me reset the clock. Alright, start the clock. Start listening. We are connected. Let's drop the tag. So you'll wonder, after talking about how it performs better in a lab, why is this yellow cord shorter than the orange one? Well, I mean, here I am holding it inside the orange, and I'm getting nothing. Now we'll get the sporadic read further. Right there's one. But you see, it's not consistent. It's not picking up again. That was just a sporadic read. If I step inside this yellow cable, even then, again, like I said, what's odd is no matter how... until I got to maybe within 4 feet, it didn't seem to be reliable. Like right now, no reads. Okay, right there's one. See, no reads. I'm holding it directly in front of it. This is turned directly facing it. Right there's one. But here we are. And we're at 7.5 feet away. Right there's one. Now, if I get closer, it's consistent. You can hear it. If I scoot further back, see, right then it just stopped. It stopped picking up even though I'm right here. Now that was just simply a late trigger of the camera. That was not a read. So I'm holding it. No dings in the laptop. No camera. Right there's one. So it's just very sporadic. I'm not sure why. Now what's interesting is it seems like it goes in waves where I can walk in, all of a sudden it's ding, 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 ding. Inside or right around this yellow line, it would be consistent sometimes, but then a lot of times there's a zone here. If I spread my legs a little bit, there's a zone about right here that when I'm in this zone, it doesn't seem to be consistent. So right here is picking up just fine. Well, nope, it stopped. So that's kind of what I'm experiencing so far. And again, I tried to make sure. I've tried 3 times where I did the cable, screwed it in. Okay, so it's as tight as it's going to get. Again, no reads. And then what I might do is go swap this out with one of the other new antennas to make sure it's not something defective with that one. But that's so far the results I'm getting. But yeah, so again, this is the read zone, that yellow of the new antenna. So there's that one. And I know it kind of looks odd. You would think it kind of bubbles out like these others. See how that kind of bubbles out a little bit? And then back around and then back in. And this one here kind of does the same. It kind of bubbles out. and around and back in. This one is more of like a even oval. So, but all right, well, so yeah, that's the results I'm getting so far. I will go ahead and swap this antenna out. If the results are any different, I'll record another video and let you know. Otherwise, I'll send this to the antenna supplier first, kind of get his feedback. I don't want to share this with the public until he has a chance to review it. Not because we're going to try to hide anything, it's just the fact that it's just a courtesy. So, so yeah, I'll let him review this first, and then we'll see what happens. So that's kind of what I'm getting. If nothing else, even if you find this video and you don't plan on getting this antenna, you maybe find it kind of interesting to see the performance we're getting out of these two models here. So, but all right, that's. Oh, I guess we'll do one more test here in a second, where I'll hook up the FX7500 and then the 9500. I'll go and stop this video, set that stuff up, and just do a quick test. I might even leave this stuff out just so we can see the difference. I may not map out, because I'm running out of extension cords here, I may not map out the exact read zone here, but I'll let you watch as I walk around. So, all right, well, let's hook that equipment up, and I'll go ahead and swap this cable out and do a quick test with it before I test this equipment. Okay, so I just now swapped the cable, or the antennas out real quick. So that's the antenna we were just using. And so here's the exact same brand and model and everything. I just swapped it out. Cable, of course, is screwed in really well. I haven't even done this test yet, so we'll see. So I'm holding it out. Nothing. Oh, right there. So we are about a foot inside the yellow extension cord here. Right there. So again, I'm getting the same results. It's sporadic. There's 2 reads in a row, 3, 4. I can actually see the screen from here. There's 5, 6. There's 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're outside the yellow line. No reads. Directly in front of the antenna, same height, same everything. High, low, doesn't matter. Step inside the yellow extension cord. High, low, not picking up. Oh, there's one. So again, it's just very sporadic. So it seems like, I mean, if you're looking at, if I were to move this where it is reliable, I mean, you're looking at almost half the read distance as the other antennas. But so yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting so far. Hopefully there's a good answer. Obviously, you know, whenever I swap readers, maybe we find that, you know, maybe because this has got different reads. I'm just taking a wild guess here. I don't know anything about this stuff, but maybe we find, hey, you know, this antenna, the way it's designed, can't support a reader as weak as a TR265. Maybe a stronger reader, it'll really shine. So I'll go and swap these readers out and see what happens. Okay, so I just hooked up the FX7500. I've got it hooked up to the Thinkify antenna right now. To my amazement, I watch out here, I mean, looks like 34 feet away. Look at that. Now, I knew that it was pretty consistent within 20 feet, but I had no idea. There's no way. Something's got, this is 42 feet away. Alright, antenna has been, tag has been hidden. Look at that. Look at that. It's crazy. I had no idea. Yeah, I did a bunch of tests when I first got this system, and again, I found that it was consistent within 20, and I could have swore I'd done tests to see how far away it would read. Alright, so we're at, now there's no way, we're at 70 feet here. So let's just walk a little closer. I'm going to move it up and down here. Read that far away. Oh, look at there. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 reads. This is crazy. We're at 48 feet. Actually, I'm standing at, well, yeah, I had the tag out in front of me, so that's probably 48 feet. Look at this. Yeah, I hear it. The camera's not flashing, but I hear it. Let me give the camera a second to catch up. Of course, there's my son playing by the road. See that? I can hear it. I hope you just saw the camera flash. That's insane. 48 feet away. Right there. It just flashed. Let's give the camera a second to... Right there. I can hear it dinging. I hope you can hear it in the video. Like I said, the camera can only flash every few seconds. Just dinging away. That's just crazy. Alright, so now let's see how wide. From this far out, surely it's really wide. Yep, I can hear it. That is insane. So no reads out here. Right there. That is just crazy. I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave my shoe here. Alright, right there. I'm still getting reads. Alright, right there it stopped. Right there. Alright, so I'm going to leave my other shoe here. Right there. Okay, so again, we're at... Actually, this is what, 50, did I say, this is 58 feet. Golly. Alright, so I'm going to leave my sock here. By the time this test is over, I'm going to be naked, I guess. Right there, good grief. Alright, so that's a read. Let me see how far out I can get. I can still hear it. Right there. Hopefully you just saw that flash. Okay, so it looks like to be about right here. It is about as wide, which is right across from where the shoe's at. So I'm going to go ahead and take my other sock off here and leave it. So that is insane. 58 feet away. You can see, let me get over here behind the antenna. And that is, now I don't know if it matters because I've got just one antenna. You wouldn't think that it would like quadruple the power of that one antenna. Maybe in my other tests I had all four hooked up, but that is just unreal. So I hope, again, we're standing behind this antenna. There's a shoe way out there, a sock way out there. You can see by the tape, and then my other sock there. So imagine that being the beam coming out of this antenna. That is crazy. So, did not expect that at all. All right, so now I'm eager to hurry up and swap to this, but I'm going to go ahead and swap the antennas and then walk around the same perimeter and then see what we get. So just go ahead and keep the video rolling here. I'll stop listening and go ahead and reset the race. Okay, oh wait. Hey Aaron, hey buddy, put that stick down. Stay away from the road. Like he doesn't know better. Aaron, put the stick down. Stop doing that. Buddy, why are you holding the gun to your head like that? Why are you holding the stick to your head like you're shooting yourself? Alright, here we go. Start listening. Alright, it says connected. So now, again, we're using the same tag, same everything. I'll walk around. Let's start with the same. Well, in fact, we'll do the exact same thing. I'll walk straight out because I think the very first test I did was walking straight away from it. I've got the tag hidden in my hand and still reading it. Just reading probably through that little bit I can see through my fingers. Alright, so here's my sock. Okay, well, there's a read. Okay, 2 reads. So again, we're at 51 feet right here, 50. That is just unreal. I cannot believe that. Alright, so I can hear it dinging. I hope you can hear it. So it is dinging like crazy right here. I get 52 feet. Now if I scoot back, now I don't know if that was a sporadic read where my sock is at. Yep, it's still reading. Let me scoot back again. Yep. Right there. Right there, you saw that? Okay, no reads here. Okay, I'm kind of waving it all around. Right there. So this seems to be, now I got a couple reads further away, but I mean, this is obviously, we're so far out in the fringes here, no telling what's happening, but still, to my amazement, we're getting reads 50 plus feet out. So now let's kind of follow the perimeter and see if we're going to get any reads as far out as a Thinkify reader. Now this is supposed to be a higher dBi, so we should not get reads out this far. Okay, nothing. The key is if it's higher dBi, you're supposed to be able to get further away reads, which we did. We did get some further away. Yeah, so I'm still not getting anything. Right there. But it was a sporadic one, so I don't want to say that's the solid read zone. Right there. And of course, with cars drive by, I can't hear, but the camera's flashing. I'm hearing quite a few dings. So let's say that this right here, kind of this far away from the tape measure, so this is a much more narrow read zone. So I would assume, just like we saw on that shoe over here being the equal distance roughly of that sock over there, I would assume that this is a much more narrow read zone. So you're looking at probably a 20 feet wide read zone here compared to, like, good grief, what is that, 50 plus read zone, wide read zone between these two. So all right, well, yeah, so let's do our third antenna just to kind of see how it performs with a, you can hear it dinging like crazy. So we got 43 reads out there. All right, stop reading. All right, swap cables. Take off the Thinkify cable. There we go. Well, I cannot wait to test the 9500. All right, start. And start listening, and it should say connected, and it does. Okay, so I'm gonna hide it in my hand. And again, that's nice that it's reading through my hand even. So let's go on back here. Okay, nothing so far. Kind of up and down. Wow, nothing. Well within the range of both of the other antennas. Oh, right there. Not consistent. Right there's another read. Right there. Again, it's not consistent though. Right there's a read. I'll wait for that truck to drive by because I can't hear. Right there's a read. Okay, pretty consistent right here. So we're at 37 feet. Yep, I can hear it. All right, so now let's test how far away the bubble is, how wide it is.
Dad?
Yes, sir?
Can I help you?
Yeah, you gonna hold this? Walk with me?
Yeah.
All right, so hold it. There you go, just like that. Yep. So there you go. Right there. Okay. Let's walk backwards. Hold it out. Okay. I can hear it dinging, by the way, if you can't hear it on the video. So right about 2 inches further, I could hear it. Yep, right there, we can hear it. Right here, we can't. So it seems to be maybe the same, if not a little bit more narrow, but probably the same as the MTI Wireless. So same read width coming out, but less read distance. So that's pretty interesting. All right, let's do our test with the 9500. Totally impressed, by the way, with the Thinkify antenna and the MTI Wireless, of course. All right, so we'll restart that race. And I've got to disable. Again, you see that camera even right then. I don't go by the camera flashing because it can be a few seconds later that the camera finally catches up. So I hope you're able to hear the dings on the video, and if you can't, I hope you're able to trust that when I say a ding happened that it did. All right, so I'm going to disable the 7500, enable the 9500, and then I've got to, let's see here. Now, by the way, you're never supposed to unplug and plug in the power from here whenever it's powered on. When the cord has juice, it's better to do something like this, to where you unplug this end and let this do the job of taking the jolt instead of this as you're kind of halfway jerking it in and out, to where that little port in there is having to do the, it's getting shorted. And so it's better, just so you know, to unplug it from here or from the outlet, of course. So let's swap these out real quick. Keep in mind that when you buy this, it comes with a little locking part here. I had one customer that kind of just tried to shove it in without realizing that little locking part, you have to push it in and twist it to lock it in. So we'll switch the Ethernet cable, and then of course we'll switch our antenna cable. I hope that the 9500 doesn't disappoint and we get the exact same read distance, but even if we got the same read distance, that's still crazy far. It blows my mind. Alright, so that's all that. Mosquitoes. So we'll wait for the green light to come on. It is mid-October and I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. The high today was 85, by the way, and I did something you don't really want to do. The wind's been blowing, so I don't think it's too bad, but I mean, I had my readers out in the sunlight. Typically, when you're timing a race, keep in mind that these are sensitive to heat, so try to keep them out of the sun if you can. All right, come on, turn green. So I'm going to go and swap this to where we do the Thinkify reader first, or antenna first. That's the way we've done all of our other tests. And we got a green light on the reader. Let's do a quick test on this to make sure it connects. Okay, sometimes it takes a minute or so before after the green light comes on before the computer actually recognizes it's there and connects. Okay, connected. Antenna test. Last test. Alright, start the clock. Alright, we are connected. So I'm going to first go off and see how far away it reads. Alright, so this is roughly the furthest read we got with the Thinkify before. I'm amazed. No reads yet. Let me make sure. Okay, there's a read, so it is reading. Okay. Okay, I can hear it dinging. I hope you can hear it there. Yeah, it's still dinging. Okay, so actually here it stopped reading. Well, no. So we're looking at 50 feet away. Right there's a read. There. It's possible I'm kind of seeing even from here, the antenna might for some reason be angled up a little bit. That's why I'm holding the tag a little higher. Yeah, I'm getting reads further away now. Okay, no more reads. Unfortunately, there's a train behind me. I'm not sure if you can hear it. I'm having trouble hearing the dings, so I'm having to watch for the camera. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on, why the 9500 is not getting... There's a read. Okay, so I would imagine it should read out just as wide. It may not read out as far, because I don't know why the 9500 there wasn't reading as far. Right there. So yeah, that's strange. I'm getting maybe 20% less read distance and read width with this 9500, and I don't know why, because it's supposed to be a stronger reader. So again, that's what's interesting with these tests. First of all, it does surprise me that with all three antennas, the 7500 read out way further than I expected it to be able to do. And I totally expected the 9500 to read out further, so I'm not sure what that's about. You know, again, it could be, I've tried to do enough tests, and I've only done one test with 9500. I may do two more and find it, you know, something is going crazy with port number 2 or something in my reader, but it's getting dark here, so I'm going to stop it here. But you'll see I did multiple tests with the TR200 and the beam, how far away it read and how reliable it was inside each shape here. And so that's enough tests for me to at least be able to say that this new antenna, there's something that's not really, it doesn't outperform the other two. At worst case, it doesn't outperform. And so that'll be the end of today's test, I guess. So that was fun. As I was tearing everything down, I just remembered that when I tested the FX7400 before, or this is the 7500, what I tested before, it was actually the 7400, and that was years ago when I first was developing the system. It's possible, and I know that, you know, they claim much higher specs on the 7500. I just can't believe that it's so much higher that it maybe even outperforms the 9500. Now, the 9500 hasn't changed since the day the 7400 was released, so I'm not sure when they're supposed to release a newer edition of the 9500. So maybe it is possible that the 7500 outperforms the 9500 now, but again, last time I did this test where I was actually trying to see where the consistent reads happened, with the 7400 it seemed to be about 20 feet. So again, I'm still shocked that the 7500 was reading that far out. And I'm happy to see, by the way, this 9500 did read out roughly where I expected. You know, I was assuming that the 7500 will read about, you know, 20 feet or so. And I was expecting, because I received some emails from people saying that, you know, they're picking up reads 35, 40 feet away. So that performed like I expected. This performed way better than I expected. So that's kind of, earlier I mentioned that, you know, when I did test before, it was about 20 feet. Again, while I was tearing down, I realized, wait a minute, that was with the 7400, not with the 7500. So, again, kind of a summary idea there, or some final idea I wanted to present to you. So maybe that's what the difference was.